What's up, cowboy? Who's you gonna go?
Best of the
Commander.
best.
We got no reverence.
What's the plan?
GSL. Kaboom, baby!
Welcome back to the GSTL Grand Finals for Season 3 of 2012. I am Wolf, with me is Caldor, and people are starting to eat some snacks and drink milk.
That's actually outside of the studio, guys. Outside of the studios, they had to put up a couple of chairs in one of the monitors because there are just too many people.
Yeah.
Studio is pretty cramped today.
It is certainly cramped, and you know, Caldor has donated some funds to actually present some snacks for the fans. Just want to let everyone know that.
It was actually meant to get free pizza for the people here, but I think there were too many people, so they decided to get snacks instead.
Yeah, and it looks like they're being handed out now. And it says from Caldor, of course, and that's why there's polka dots on the box, because I know that that's your style.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely my style. No, I thought for the GSTL finals we at least needed some pizza, but I think I underestimated how many people would be there.
Yeah, with all the snow, I was really shocked, in fact, at how many people came.
Me too. It was really weird. I mean, guys, usually in Korea, if there's just a little bit of snow, Koreans already go crazy and are like, oh my god, I can't go outside today. But the last like 3 or 4 days, it has been snowing constantly. So for Korea, this is actually a lot of snow, and all the streets are icy as hell. Yeah. It's crazy.
It gets a little bit icy. Here's our Code A schedule, by the way, if you guys didn't know.
Oh, that's pretty good, because I didn't get that.
Oh, really?
Oh, next week, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I have that schedule.
Yeah, we'll be casting all of those matches as usual for you guys, so don't miss it. A lot of great players in Code A. The season's already off to a good start.
Yeah.
And you can see, in fact, some of those very players down for Monday coming up in just about 48 hours.
And something is wrong with just with StarCraft 2 in general if you have players like parting suddenly in Code A.
There's
something is really wrong. Parting now in the second round of Code A, and we'll see if he's able to get back in Code S, where he belongs.
There's so much StarCraft stuff going on right now, man. It's like...
It's crazy.
I feel like we've taken every announcement and every tournament and every bit of drama even, and just like put it all into this dense package, and like it's been distributed to all the StarCraft fans all over the world, and they're like, what do I do with this? There's just too much inside.
You know, usually you go on Reddit every day and there's only fluff, 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 and maybe one news, one thing that you're like, oh cool, I actually didn't know that. So you try to research a little bit more. These days, when you hit up the front page of Reddit, it's like 5 major things every day, and you're like, what?
And all you want to do is find out what Huck said on Twitter, but instead you got to read all the news posts.
Man, Bial joined LGIM, and nobody actually caught that, because it was on the front page of Reddit for like a day, but nobody really paid attention to it, because there were so many things happening. Like a few weeks ago, that would have made the top spot.
Yeah, that was... bad timing on that announcement, I would say. DRG,
they should have made an announcement of the announcement first.
They should have done at least that. I think that Yuta got away with that last night, but by the way, Tyr, it wasn't Gumio. They actually put out Tyr here. He is, I like to call him the wildcard pros, because he can do any sort of strategy. That's what he was known for when he first joined the team. You can even see, you know, in his eyes how confident he looks right now. He's up against the final boss, DRG, who's come out early today. Can he actually win? Will he pull off a unique strategy? Will he go for something a little bit more normal? This is the GSTL Grand Finals for Season 3 of 2012. I am Wolf. With me is Caldor. Let's jump into it. Toon Valley.
Game number 4 at the GSTL Finals. On in Toon Valley to the top left starts our Zerg player for Team MVP. Took down Lucky in the last game.
MVP, Dongnagu!
Come out early today. Not the last player for his team. Not today. 1 second and already has 1 win.
Yeah, he's up against the Pros player to the bottom right. from the team FXOpen. Don't cry. It's just...
FXO, here!
I was a little bit surprised when I saw him coming out next, because if you look at his statistics a bit, he's really decent against Terran and against Protoss. In both matchups, he has a 63% win ratio. Against Zerg, on the other hand, he only wins 37% of his games. We don't have too many games, so it's not like this... Well, we have like 20 recorded games of him, so it's not the biggest sample size that you can base that on. But still, if you just go down his recent map histories, then you see him with losses against Symbol, with losses against Curious. He lost to Ragnarok, was taken down by Revival. So a lot of things where you say, is this really the guy who should be sent out against one of the strongest Zerg players that we have out there, against the Zerg that was in the OSL finals?
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's definitely a big risk, but I think that it makes sense given that sending Gumiho out here, even though that seems like, at first glance, the most logical choice, if you fail, there's so much to fall, there's so much that you feel after that, like, oh wow, now we don't have Gumiho at all. We used him, he didn't even get a single win for our team, and now we still have to beat Dongerigu, so to use Tyr feels like it's a little bit less likely to work, but it also feels like if it fails, you have less to lose.
Whatever you do, you're taking a risk, and this is why I like this decision to put DRG out as a second player so much by Team MVP. It puts a lot of pressure onto FXOpen early on, having to face one of the big names here. And I really like what we currently see from Tyr. The Forge hidden in the main base on a big map like this. He is like, okay, well, I'm just gambling here, and I'm trying to, you're not going to use any kind of proxy play. If there was proxy play, he would now lose his pile on the bow, his had to cancel his... actually, he wouldn't lose too much. He would just have to cancel his natural and then build the cannons in the main base. So, with the placement that he has, he can also hide his upgrades. Nice with the drone. That was actually a really cool move.
Yeah.
Dodging the scout.
Really nicely done. And now, a little bit in the dark. As that is. Probe gets smacked down by a queen, and there needs to be an upgrade called the Royal Scepter. It gives the queen +1 additional range plus the new range that they have, and it just holds a scepter and hits units with its ground attack.
The Royal Scepter.
The Royal Scepter upgrade. That's how queens are meant to fight, not with this weird slapping motion. That's what I'd like to see. You know, the flying queens of old, they were different. Now we have this new queen that walks and is really a lot more useful in StarCraft 2, but we need Royal Scepters. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah, I could live with that.
Crown upgrade, maybe.
Crown upgrade.
It's like the queen of the queens.
It works a little bit like the Kadarian amulet.
Yeah, your queen starts at 75 energy.
Yeah, that patch never came through, did it?
No, certainly not.
I was so sad. That would have been fun.
That would have been, well,
all the Protoss and Terrans are crying now, no! Well, that would have been heavily imbalanced.
Well, the Marines might have had to get an upgrade where they start with 75 health instead, if that were the case. We just have a little bit of Zealot poking here. He sees the drones going across, which, unless it's a super fake, there's definitely going to be a hatchery there. That's all he needs to know. He's going to hold the watchtower. And those early links he made, he's actually going to use them to kill the rocks, which is really important to connect the third bases. And this is actually really unfortunate for Tyr that he's going to make this third nexus right now, considering that if DRG goes to scout that Overlord, he will be able to see it. He needs another Stalker to block. If you can actually deny the scout on that third base, you are in a great shape because it makes the Zerg feel so awkward. He has to prepare defensively for your attack, but you may actually just take a third instead.
Look at the tech up choices that we have for Tyr right now. He goes right into the Twilight Council, so first of all, it's going to help him, of course, a lot with defending 3 bases against a potential Mutalisk play. But at the same time, he can just try to go for this heavy 11 gate attacks that we've seen from Protoss. If you have this blink as well, then you can do so much damage. So it's going to be really interesting to see if he is opting to go for this attack style.
Yeah, you can also get +3 very fast with this Twilight Council because you start +2 a little bit faster. You get that build up, you use all your chrono boosts properly. We could definitely see something like that. It's really popular on this map. Still no robo at all.
Yeah, without the robotics, you know, you feel you would have at least tried to research hallucinations so that he has some scouting information, but he's really completely in the blind here. He just is confident that the Zerg player is not going to do anything special in this game.
He's also got the ability to deny that Overlord at the third base, so at this point DRG is very much in the dark. He sees a pylon is at the third, but that's not enough to let him know 100% that there's going to be an actual Nexus there. But he's just lining all his upgrades up properly. He's getting an Overseer down there at the bottom left just to make sure he can check for that Nexus. He's getting his +1, his Roach speed, his Metabolic boost is lining up. He's taken a quick 4th here though, and I like that.
You're really early in the game. The 4th base would of course be the first place where Tia is trying to attack if he wants to hit this timing. And he already has a lot of gateways up. He has 4 in total. He's adding 2 additional ones. Will be on 6.
Well,
Zerglings trying to sneak in, not doing anything.
Yeah, I think that was a slight pathing mistake by DRG. He didn't have Metabolic boost yet either, so he just kind of ran in and got trapped. But that Overseer saw everything. He saw the Nexus at the third base. He was able to see that there's no Robo. And as a result, DRG probably not going to cancel.
And there they are. There are 4 additional gates, so he will go for a huge gateway attack. And if you just look at what DRG has, he does not have any sort of high attack. We don't see him with anything like, for example, an Infestation Pit, which he would be really, really helpful, because he can use the Fungal to pin those Stalkers down. He just doesn't have that. So what can he actually do to face this kind of a composition? With a +2 attack upgrade, with 1 Observer most likely gonna just join the army, as well as a Warp Prism, and then all those gateways to get the gateway units into the picture.
Yeah,
it's going to be tricky.
It's going to be really tricky. He's going to want to start +3 immediately. Obviously, +3 is not going to be done by the time this fight happens, but about after the time he kills the 4th base and continues to move forward, +3 will eventually finish for his army. There's the Infestation Pit, but it's way, way late to actually defend this attack.
Yeah, he can't use it in the first fight. That's not going to happen. Robotics is nearly done. Where's the Warp Prism? There we go.
There's the Warp Prism, and the Pylon is up and ready. He needs to try to get a flank with these Roaches. That's where these sentries are going to come into play.
Force Field's in good position. Will definitely make sure that DRG can't engage here. And here we go. Guardian Shield is up.
He needs to get that hatchery, though. If he actually walks away here...
I don't think he will. With such a heavy commitment to gateways, you can't really back.
He can't... He needs to fight a little bit, at least, and trade like he's doing now. But there's so many Lings here. Dongrygu coming in at the perfect angle now, sweeping around with the Zerglings from the south. A great force field wall, though, to block out the Roaches. This is excellent zoning here, but eventually he's going to run out of room. Oh, and he leaves the sentries to die.
Wow, he exposes the sentries, saves the Stalkers, and for DRG, this is perfect. He just falls back, drones up like crazy, goes up to another 12 drones, has now Pathogen Glands on its way. This is awesome for DRG. The force field's not even trapping any Stalkers here.
He needs to warp in some Zealots if he wants that hatchery. This would be one way for him to hold on here.
Yeah, he could warp in these Zealots with the Warp Prism and take down this base, but at the same time, we just have more and more pressure being executed by DRG. He's taking down gateways, and he's opening gaps that he could use to stream in.
Tyr is heavily supply blocked. He doesn't even have the ability to warp in units at that Warp Prism. Now he warps in 4 sentries at home, and here come 5 Zealots, and actually with no Queens nearby to transfuse, this hatchery will definitely go down.
Yeah, a Queen pops out, but too late, doesn't have the energy either. Goes for the inject. I'm not quite sure what that was supposed to accomplish.
I think that's just reflex, I guess.
You think?
That was pretty intense.
Your base is being attacked. He jumps to the base, sees, okay, only 5 hit points
more larva to
Queen
defend this
pops
base.
out, and the first thought that he has is like, inject.
Oh, wow. I guess that Queen's going to be slightly less vulnerable to feedback later on. Potentially. But 7 Infestors are about to pop out, but just at the same time as the Colossus. So taking out that hatchery was very key. If he had not done that, if we had a 4-base Dongrygu with great tech coming up against someone who's kind of locked in on 3 bases, it would have been a great position.
Now we have this hallucination upgrade that he can use for scouting later in the game. But as it is, this is really unfortunate for Tyr. The first attack looked kind of promising, but there were a lot of units for DRG, and Tyr decided to just move back, not take the fight, lost all of his sentries, a lot of gas, and this allowed the DRG to get these bases up. He has a really, really strong economy now with 78 drones. He's on 3 bases, taking a 4th, and also attempting to try to take a 5th now. Even the oversupply here.
Yeah.
201. Just because I can.
Little bit. And this Warp Prism is so annoying. I'm a little surprised DRG tried to take that hatchery when he knew the Warp Prism was so nearby. This attack, he cannot heavily commit here. With all the Colossi we've got, plus the +3 upgrade about to finish, he can't really make this work.
Nice, losing the Zerglings here.
A small little blink forward to take an Infestor out, and he will actually get this if he wants it.
The Infestor.
Oh. Gets it.
That looked a little bit funny.
Well, is it worth 3 Stalkers? Arguably,
really.
yes, but not really. No. I mean, it depends on the situation, but in this situation, I would say no. This is a really scary moment now for DRG because he doesn't have these Spine Cores ready. He's making 8 of them. He does not have any Corruptors for the Colossi. And Investor trapped at the front. Gets some bungles off, but this is looking really scary.
The Infestors are suddenly gone. Only 4 left for DRG, and he lost a lot. The force fields were good this time for Tier. And this could get really bad. And once again, a blink forward, and bam, those Infestors are gone. The Spine Crawlers weren't ready, and here comes Tier. Maybe this is the timing that he needed.
Well, maybe so.
22 Roaches are being built on the other hand for DRG.
But will they have enough with +3 with all these Immortals in the army as well? Infestors trying to come in here and do their job, but more Stalkers warping in. And I think the production may just be too much for DRG to hold here.
DRG lost so much early on, and Tier is already dancing. Another Infestor dies, just walks into the death ball. Tier is having fun, and GG by DRG.
What an intense little attack that DRG could not hold.
Man, what a final.
DRG, I feel, should have waited until he had the infrastructure in place to get Corruptors out before going for that big pressure attack where he made himself a little bit vulnerable in the middle of the map. Tier really utilizing that Warp Prism quite well, killing the hatchery, and wow. That is not something you would want to do to DRG normally.
That's not something that I expected from a Korean player, to be honest.
Neither did I, and maybe they have a special relationship outside of the game that we don't know about, but I have to say that was pretty VM, I guess. I mean, just to put it...
For a Korean, that was pretty rude.
Yeah, pretty rude. Especially considering the respect that Dorigu has in this community, in this gaming culture.
Yeah, there must be something else going on there. No, I don't know. Being as it is, the score is tied again. We have a 2-2 between, of course, MVP and FXO.
What is going to be the next choice? Who's going to be the next player for MVP? Now that they've lost DRG, a key player. He got a win, but did he really do his job? Did he really make it worth it? I'm not so sure. And now it may be time for Tails, I think, to come out. Play a Protoss versus Protoss, play a cool strategy on a map like Muspelheim, for example, where he may have something planned because he knows that that map's not going to be used. I would not be surprised.
I could also see Keen here, you know? Maybe on a map like Abyssal City, play Keen. We have 3 players left. You have to play Sniper. You're most likely going to play Keen. Then you have, for the 3rd player, you still have players left like Tails. You have Finale that you might want to use, that is really strong these days. Then you have Monster. You have a lot of options if you're a team MVP right now. So I feel that a player like Keen will definitely come to play today.
Yeah.
And Sniper, of course, has to come out.
Sometimes when you have this many options, it becomes so much more difficult to choose. There's become so many more wrong choices oftentimes, and it's hard to figure out which ones those are and how to dodge them. And to choose a player like Keen on a big map, like a map Leenock might want to use later, actually does make a lot of sense to me.
Let's see who's going to be.
And it looks like it is going to be a Monster, in fact.
Another Zerg player now up against Tier.
Interesting choice. Yeah, Monster, he has shown some pretty good games in the past, but if Dorigu couldn't take out Tier, Monster, man, he's got to be doing something in the practice house that I'm not knowing about.
The thing is, I feel that you have to play Keen and Sniper later. And I wonder if Keen is going to be one of the 2 remaining players. Because if he is, I might have rather used Keen now and Finale later.
Yeah.
But well, it's a difficult choice. There's so many good players on the lineup that in hindsight it's of course always a lot easier to say which player should have been chosen. But now we have Monster, who is of course not a bad player at all. I mean, this guy is one of the strongest Zerg that we have. More a Code A than a Code S player, but still a very, very strong opponent to face. So even though Tier just defeated DRG with the right map, this is definitely a game that he should not take lightly.
Sniper, I feel, has to be the last player, no matter what.
Yeah.
And so...
Sniper Leenock, man.
Exactly. That's what we're going to be seeing potentially later on. And when you consider what we've got left now, there's only 2 players left that MVP can choose. And is this 3rd player, Monster, is he the right choice? I personally disagree, but again, I don't know what he's doing in the team house. I don't know what he's up to in-house, and that may be why he's chosen here. He's drinking a hot 6, opening up that can. Not only sponsoring this league, but also his team, so makes sense for him to drink it. Plus, it does make you feel a little bit energized.
You know, he's strong against Protoss. He lost to Yonghwa recently, but that's of course something that can be neglected.
Yeah.
Yonghwa at the time was on such a roll.
Who wasn't losing to Yonghwa back then, man?
You say like back then, it was a month ago,
Yeah.
you know, StarCraft 2 just moved so fast.
Certainly so. Abyssal City actually is the map, and I like that because it's a pretty good Zerg map, but it also is used now in a way that Lenot cannot use it later.
Yeah, it's a really good map that you want to have against a Protoss player as a Zerg. It's just awesome. This third base for Protoss is so difficult to take, and with all those high-low ground positions, you can use Mutalisks on this map, both players with their hot packs. And well, let's jump into the game, guys. We have Tier up against Monster here at the GSTL Finals. FXO is facing Team MVP. The score is tied, and we are heading into match number 5, brought to you by Carl and Wolf.